In his book The Post-Truth Era, Ralph Keyes offers a deep dive into one of the most significant challenges facing modern society, the rise of a world where truth seems increasingly irrelevant or subjective. Keyes argues that we now live in an era where facts are frequently disregarded in favor of emotions, personal beliefs, and narratives that align with individual ideologies. This cultural shift, Keyes suggests, is reshaping how we engage with each other, form opinions, and make decisions in public and private spheres. But how did we get here, and what does it mean for us moving forward? Keyes traces the roots of this phenomenon to a number of cultural, technological, and political changes. He identifies the increasing distrust in institutions, such as the media, government, and academic institutions, as a key driver behind the post-truth movement. Once trusted sources of information, these institutions have been undermined, with many individuals no longer seeing them as reliable authorities. Instead, people are more likely to turn to alternative sources of information that align with their existing worldviews or emotions. The Internet, and particularly social media, plays a crucial role in this shift. Platforms designed to connect people and share information have become hotbeds of misinformation and disinformation. Algorithms designed to maximize engagement have fostered echo chambers, where individuals are exposed predominantly to content that reinforces their beliefs. In this environment, facts often take a back seat to emotionally charged stories and narratives that play to people's preconceptions or biases. One of the most concerning aspects of the post-truth era, according to Keyes, is the way in which truth itself is becoming more subjective. In a world where different groups or individuals can define their own version of the truth, there is no longer a common ground upon which to have meaningful debates or resolve conflicts. When the facts are up for interpretation or outright manipulation, it becomes harder to have productive conversations about key issues. This is especially dangerous in the political realm, where decisions that affect millions of people can be made based on misinformation, half-truths, or deliberate falsehoods. Keyes explores how political figures and leaders have learned to exploit the post-truth environment, crafting narratives that appeal directly to emotions, fears, and desires rather than to reason or objective facts. This kind of rhetoric may win votes or generate attention, but it also deepens divides and prevents meaningful discourse. The rise of post-truth politics is a major theme in Keyes' work. He points to the ways in which populist movements have thrived in recent years by rejecting expert knowledge and presenting an alternative truth, often centered around national identity, immigration, or economic issues. These movements, Keyes suggests, are dangerous because they encourage a kind of tribalism that is based not on shared facts, but on emotionally charged beliefs. By rejecting facts and expertise, populist leaders create a situation where it becomes difficult to engage with opposing views or find common ground. Keyes also notes how post-truth politics leads to a weakening of democratic institutions. When citizens no longer trust the sources of information that traditionally informed their decisions, it becomes harder to make informed choices in the political sphere. Elections become less about rational debate and more about appealing to base emotions and fears. In the media landscape, Keyes discusses how the proliferation of fake news and sensationalist headlines has contributed to the decline of objective truth. The Internet and social media have made it easier than ever for misinformation to spread, often with little or no accountability. News outlets, in the race for clicks and views, have increasingly embraced sensationalism over facts, prioritizing stories that generate emotional reactions over those that provide well-researched, objective information. The 24-hour news cycle, combined with the rise of citizen journalism and the speed at which information spreads on platforms like Twitter and Facebook, has created an environment where it's difficult for individuals to separate fact from fiction. In this environment, the truth is often drowned out by noise, and people are left to navigate a confusing landscape of competing narratives and misinformation. In the face of these challenges, Keyes calls for a renewed commitment to truth. He stresses that while we may be living in a post-truth era, it is not too late to restore truth to its rightful place in public life. Keyes argues that this requires a concerted effort to defend the value of objective facts and to recognize the dangers posed by misinformation. He calls for a focus on critical thinking and media literacy, encouraging individuals to be more discerning consumers of information. By questioning the sources of the information we encounter and developing a deeper understanding of how news and facts are presented, we can begin to rebuild our capacity to separate truth from fiction. Keyes also advocates for a return to reasoned debate and open discussion, where facts can be debated and where individuals can disagree without resorting to emotional manipulation or misinformation. Keyes highlights the importance of restoring trust in institutions that uphold truth and accountability. Journalism, science, and academia, he argues, have a responsibility to combat misinformation and to ensure that the public is presented with accurate, evidence-based information. This will require these institutions to be transparent, accountable, and committed to the highest standards of evidence. But Keyes acknowledges that this is a difficult task in an age where trust in these institutions is at an all-time low. To combat this, institutions must work harder to engage with the public, restore their credibility, and emphasize their role as arbiters of truth in a complex world. Ultimately, the post-truth era is a call to action. Keyes urges society to recognize the dangers of the current trend and to take steps to address the erosion of truth. He believes that the post-truth era is not inevitable, and that by emphasizing intellectual humility, critical thinking, and a commitment to objective facts, we can begin to repair the damage done by the rise of misinformation. In the end, truth is not just a philosophical or academic issue, but one that affects every aspect of our lives, from politics to personal relationships to our understanding of the world. To restore truth as a central value, Keyes argues, we must all take responsibility for the information we consume, share, and believe. In conclusion, the post-truth era serves as both a diagnosis of the problems facing modern society and a blueprint for how to overcome them. By acknowledging the threat posed by the erosion of truth, and by working collectively to rebuild trust in facts and institutions, we can begin to navigate the complexities of the post-truth world. Truth may seem elusive in today's environment, but it is still worth pursuing, for the sake of democracy, discourse, and a shared understanding of the world.